West Ham versus Chelsea was not just another game, it was a warning.
Estevao took full advantage of that, Chelsea took full advantage of that. It was impressive from Chelsea's perspective in the attack, and it was impressive from Estevao's perspective as well.
A statement to the entire Premier League.
Not really dealt with there either, it's 5!
Chelsea walked into the London Stadium and showed the kind of power that we haven't seen in years. For the first time in over 3 seasons, the Blues are looking down at everyone else from the very top of the table, and they did it in ruthless fashion, dismantling West Ham with an attack that looks like it could terrorise every defence in England.
So if you're a Chelsea fan or Maresca, you're absolutely delighted with this performance. I mean, coming into it without Cole Palmer as well.
At the heart of it all, Joao Pedro, the new hero of Stamford Bridge. A goal, an assist, and a performance that reminded fans of the days when Didier Drogba wore the shirt and made the Premier League tremble.
Drogba!
Every time he touched the ball, West Ham panicked. Every run, every pass, every finish carried danger. The Joao Pedro era has officially begun.
But he didn't need to, right? When you've got players like Joao Pedro who can step up and perform like that, that is an introduction to those Chelsea fans out there. Joao Pedro is not just a penalty kick taker, he apparently can score bangers as well.
But he's not walking alone. Estevao Willian, just 18 years old. Stepped into the starting 11 and played like a superstar. Quick, fearless, impossible to stop.
Estevao, anytime he grabs the ball, he's saying, I'm going after this guy. I'm not even thinking about playing backwards. I'm already positioning my body to get after defenders.
The way he dribbled through West Ham's defence made them look like training cones. He delivered a stunning assist, won man of the match, and looked every bit like the next Neymar people have been whispering about.
Did they find this guy? Estevao is the youngest player to ever assist in a game for Chelsea. You see Estevao, I see Neymar. What a player! I'm done!
At 18, his first MVP, his first real taste of the Premier League, and you can bet it won't be the last. Together, Joao Pedro and Estevao form a samba duo that feels destined to dominate this league. One creates chaos, the other thrives in it. One finishes with ice, the other dances with fire. And when they combine, Chelsea suddenly look like the most terrifying side in the country. But it doesn't end there. Pedro Neto was everywhere, cutting through West Ham with intelligence and pace. Liam Delap, even without scoring, pressed relentlessly, stretching the defence and opening spaces for his teammates. Enzo Fernandez, the World Cup winner, reminded us of his class with a thunderous strike, while Moises Caicedo once again proved why he's the best number 6 in the Big Six, covering every blade of grass and dominating the midfield battle. This wasn't just a win, this was Chelsea showing the Premier League that they are back, polished, powerful and perfectly balanced. From defence to midfield to attack, Enzo Maresca's team looks tuned, dangerous and ready to fight. West Ham felt it firsthand. The rest of the league has been warned. Chelsea are back at the top and this time they look ready to stay there. Chelsea's trip to the London Stadium turned into a statement, a thunderous warning that echoed across the Premier League. What began as a shaky start ended as one of the most dominant away wins the Blues have delivered in recent memory. 5 different names on the scoresheet, a complete display of tactical precision, and the clear sense that Enzo Maresca's project has clicked into gear. The night didn't start kindly. With just 6 minutes gone, Lucas Paquetá picked the ball up in Chelsea's half and without hesitation unleashed a pile driver that swerved viciously past Robert Sanchez into the top corner.
Paquetá let it rip, and how?
West Ham's crowd erupted, and for a moment it seemed like the Hammers had the momentum to cause real damage. But Chelsea's response was immediate and ruthless. Marc Cucurella rose brilliantly at the near post to flick on a Neto corner, and Joao Pedro, deployed in the number 10 role, after Palmer's late injury, climbed highest to nod the ball home.
Flick from Cucurella, 1-1. Joao Pedro.
The away end roared, the balance restored. West Ham thought they had regained the lead almost instantly when Nicolas Füllkrug smashed in a rebound, but VAR intervened, spotting Jean-Claire Todibo in an offside position. Instead of 2-1 to the hosts, Chelsea struck next.
Big crowd in the middle and Caicedo in the way! Offside.
Trevoh Chalobah bullied Paquetá off the ball in his own third, and Joao Pedro pounced on the loose ball. With the composure of a seasoned playmaker, He whipped in a cross that Sanchez produced a flying save. Estevao showed flashes of brilliance with a late break. And Maresca gave minutes to youngsters like Jorel Hato and Wesley Fofana, returning from injury. By the closing 10 minutes, large sections of the London Stadium were empty, with only the Chelsea faithful in full voice. This was Chelsea's biggest away win at West Ham in 16 years, their 4th straight league victory against the Hammers, and their 10th triumph in 12 games across all competitions. A night to remember, not just for the goals, but for the message it sent. The Blues are back at the top of the table and they intend to stay there. Do you know what's truly frightening about this Chelsea side? Their most important attacking player, Cole Palmer, wasn't even on the pitch. The Englishman pulled out in the warm-up with a groin injury, and for most clubs that would have been a crushing blow. But for Enzo Maresca, the solution was as simple as it was terrifying. Hand a start to an 18-year-old prodigy. His name is Estevao William, and what he did in London that night will be remembered as the moment a new Premier League superstar announced himself. Because this match won't just be remembered for the 5-1 scoreline, it will be remembered for a single move that left England at his feet. He picked up the ball on the edge of the box, lifted his head, and in a blink he was gliding past defenders as if they didn't exist. With a sharp twist of his hips, he floored the first man. With a feint of his ankle, he sent a second crashing down, and in seconds, Estevao was storming into the box as though nothing could stop him. And here's the difference between raw talent and genius. Any ordinary teenager would have rushed the shot, desperate to finish the move himself. But Estevao didn't panic. He slowed down, changed his rhythm, dragged his marker to the limit, and waited, calculating until Enzo Fernandez was in the perfect spot. Then, with a delicate touch, he placed the ball on a plate for the World Cup winner to finish. It was a moment fit for the history books, a piece of footballing art that froze time, lifted fans out of their seats, and had replays running again and again on the big screen, because no one could quite believe what they had just witnessed. Without question, one of the most beautiful Chelsea moves in recent years. Estevao built his reputation at Palmeiras, playing mainly on the right wing, and against West Ham he showed everyone exactly why. Every time he got on the ball, you could feel the electricity in the stadium. His direct dribbling, that mix of pace and flair only Brazilian stars seem to possess, made every defender backpedal in fear. After the break, he looked even more confident. The Chelsea fans packed into the away end were singing his name, and when he won a corner right in front of them, the ovation told its own story. They already see him as one of their own, a rising star who belongs in blue. The only thing missing from his magical night was his first Chelsea goal. He came close, bursting through on the counter, cutting inside with typical elegance. But his shot was half blocked and easily smothered by Mads Hermansen. It didn't matter, the statement had already been made, and if you've been following his start to life in London, you'll know this wasn't a one-off. In his last 3 matches for Chelsea, Estevao has already delivered 1 goal, 1 assist, and left defenders scattered like training cones across the pitch. That's what makes this teenager so special. He doesn't just play, he dominates, and he does it with a swagger that feels like the beginning of something legendary. And now we need to speak about the signing of the year, Joao Pedro. Pay attention, because the £55 million Chelsea paid for him already looks like a bargain. Against West Ham, he played just 55 minutes, yet still delivered 1 goal and 1 assist. That's 2 direct contributions in little more than half a match. If you widen the lens, the picture is even brighter. In his first 5 games as a Blue, Joao Pedro has racked up 4 goals and 2 assists, 6 direct goal contributions. And oh, by the way, he also lifted the Club World Cup along the way. Not bad at all for the man already being hailed as the heir to Didier Drogba at Stamford Bridge. What's made his start so impressive is not just the numbers, but the way he delivers when it matters. He arrived straight from a Brazilian beach holiday into Chelsea's biggest tournament of the summer and immediately scored 3 goals across the semi-final and final, carrying the team to glory. That's the mentality of a big game player, and when critics wondered if he could replicate that form in the Premier League, his answer came fast. Yes, he struggled against Crystal Palace in a frustrating 0-0 draw, barely getting a touch. But at West Ham, when Chelsea needed a spark, he rose to the occasion. First, a powerful header from Marc Cucurella's flick dragged Chelsea back into the match. Then, moments later, a clever cross from the left flank found Pedro Neto at the back post to put the Blues in front. This is what you call impact football. Joao Pedro isn't just fitting into Chelsea's system, he's redefining it. But after we saw that kind of performance, we need to respond this question. This Chelsea attack can win a Premier League title. Chelsea's transfer window has been laser focused on one thing, sharpening their attack. At the Club World Cup, we saw the first glimpse of that project coming to life. Liam Delap wasted no time making an impression, finding the net in the group stage and looking like a natural presence up front.
Delap, great strength by Liam Delap, great footwork, great finish Liam Delap!
Then came Joao Pedro, the mid-tournament arrival who turned into the star of the knockout rounds. 2 goals against his old club Fluminense.
Joao Pedro lines one up, finds the corner brilliantly! Chelsea, Joao Pedro!
And another strike in the final against PSG.
Joao Pedro, it's 3 and Chelsea are running away with the FIFA Club World Cup final.
Confirmed that Chelsea had secured a player who thrives on the big stage. Add to that the youthful brilliance of Estevao and the reliability of Pedro Neto, and suddenly this attack has a new shape, a new identity, and most importantly, a new bite. Nicholas Jackson, who barely featured after his reckless red card against Flamengo, was not missed.
You see Chelsea coming into that as well? I expected them to win last season already. Really? Yeah. The amount of quality they have. And they were, in the start of the season, they were into it. So I think they were, after 10 games, they were...
Even by December, they were...
Yeah, they were still there.
His time at Stamford Bridge could soon be over if the right offer comes in. Joao Pedro and Delap are trusted to lead the line now, with Neto and Estevao offering dynamism from the flanks. And this is just the beginning. In a matter of weeks, Maresca could also integrate Alejandro Garnacho and maybe even Xavi Simons into his system, offsetting the expected departure of Christopher Nkunku. The sale of Noni Madueke to Arsenal only adds to the sense that this summer could mark a total refresh of Chelsea's front line, rebuilt around the mercurial Cole Palmer. The challenge, of course, is chemistry. You can have all the attacking names in the world, but if the pieces don't click, the whole puzzle collapses. Crystal Palace gave Chelsea a brutal reminder of that on opening weekend, shutting down the Blues with a disciplined, well-drilled game plan. But the game at London show us a whole new perspective of this team. But Chelsea can win the Premier League again, maybe not this season, but in the years to come, it's undoubtedly the target.
And I think they've showed this by winning the trophies they won last season. Good for us is that they also had a period last season where they struggled, and that's why they couldn't compete till the end for the league title. But now again, they're strengthening the team again. So very good team, good players, good manager. So a team that's, in my opinion, one of the ones that really challenge for a league title.
The doubts have haunted Stamford Bridge ever since their last league title in 2016-17. Too many glamorous forwards have arrived, only to fail to deliver. From Morata to Lukaku, from Werner to Havertz, from Pulisic to Felix, the list is endless. The disappointment consistent. A stunning fact remains. Since Diego Costa left in 2017, only one Chelsea player has scored more than 15 open play goals in a single Premier League season. That player was Tammy Abraham in 2019, a Cobham graduate who didn't cost the club a penny. The numbers tell the story. Palmer and Jackson came closest in recent years, with 13 and 14 open play goals. But 9 of the last 10 Premier League champions have had at least one player break the 15-goal mark. The only exception was Guardiola's City in 2020-21, when they spread the load across Gundogan, Sterling, Mahrez, Foden and Jesus. Maresca, who was coaching City's development squad at the time, saw that model up close, and it perhaps explains his philosophy today. I prefer to have 4 or 5 players scoring 10 or 12 goals each than one player scoring 40. But here's the catch. Guardiola himself has moved away from that approach. Modern Premier League champions usually boast a monster scorer. City have Haaland, Liverpool had Salah, even Arsenal now have Gyökeres. Chelsea's challenge is clear. Do they have that figure in their squad? Joao Pedro looked every bit the elite striker at the Club World Cup, but his career record suggests he may be more Firmino than Haaland. Versatile, skillful, and brilliant in combination, but not necessarily a 30-goal-a-season predator. Delap's story is similar. He was prolific under Maresca at youth level, scoring 23 and 20 for City's under-21s, and impressed at Ipswich last season with 10 open-play goals in a struggling side. With better service, he can certainly raise that tally. But reaching the levels of Salah and Haaland is another mountain entirely. Palmer, meanwhile, is Chelsea's ice-cold finisher. With 24 open-play goals across 2 Premier League seasons, his class is undeniable. But in Maresca's system, he's also the main playmaker, carrying too much creative weight to be the sole scorer. Neto, now 25, score and play. Like Joe Cole's prime, he is really entering his peak years, and dazzled at the Club World Cup and now in the Premier League, but his best league return is still only 5 goals. Estevao, at just 18, already looks a generational talent and scored 13 goals at Palmeiras before his 18th birthday. Yet he is still developing, still learning the ruthless edge required to dominate the Premier League, but now is the youngest assister in Chelsea history. So the future is exciting, but also uncertain. Chelsea could find themselves with a collective force where no single player hits 30 goals, but 5 or 6 players each contribute 10 to 15. Or perhaps one of Joao Pedro, Estevao, or even Delap blossoms into the superstar scorer that title-winning teams require. Either way, Maresca must find the alchemy to turn all this talent into output. The numbers of the past are sobering. In the 8 seasons since their last title, Chelsea have had only the 7th best attack in the Premier League, averaging just over 63 goals a season. Last year under Maresca, they scored 64 fewer than in Pochettino's single season in charge, when they managed 77. That gap between promise and end product is what has to be closed. Make no mistake, Chelsea are not short of firepower anymore. They have enough names, enough youth, enough raw talent to terrify any defence. The question is whether Maresca can turn that into something greater than the sum of its parts. If he can, Chelsea won't just be champions of the world, they'll be champions of England again. And yet, let's be clear, this is only the beginning. One win, one statement, one night in East London does not define a season. But it does set the tone. Chelsea have shown that the work of Enzo Maresca is already bearing fruit, that his promise to build a side capable of challenging for the Premier League, sometimes the Tivoli League, is more than just words. This team is raw, full of new faces, still learning how to play together, and still, they are already frightening. The balance between youth and experience, the blend of creativity and ruthlessness, the way every player presses, moves, and fights for the shirt, all of it points in one direction. Chelsea are not yet the finished article, but they are on the road to something far bigger. With Joao Pedro, Estevao, Palmer, Neto, Delap and the rest, the foundation has been laid. With every game, the patterns will sharpen, the chemistry will grow, and the results will multiply. So yes, this was a warning. To West Ham, to London, and to the rest of the Premier League. Enzo Maresca is building something meant to last. And in the not too distant future, Chelsea will not only be fighting for the Premier League, they will be ready to dominate English football once again.